Alright, so the 1045 spoiler slash leaks continue, but this time we're going to be talking about some dangerous leaks. The kind of leaks that shouldn't be out there because it has serious repercussions. So usually when we discuss these spoilers slash leaks on a nearly weekly basis at this point, as far as I know, they're obtained by some brave soul who is working at like a hobby shop in either South Korea or Japan, and they're simply going into the inventory of the weekly Shonen Jump magazines that they get a week early, and then leaking that information to individuals online, and then somehow Zhoniin and his contemporaries obtain this information from them and then provide it to us in text form, and then sometimes maybe one or two panels, usually like redrawn. However, this time it's very different and not in a good way, and Zhoniin himself actually put out a statement on this saying, "I have deleted all of the leaked images. Let no one else publish them, please." The reason is very simple. They are images of official RAWs. In this case, the editors of the chapters for Manga Plus, and they have been leaked illegally. We don't want there to be problems with the publishing company, so better not post them on the forum. This time they are not photos or scans of the magazine, they are something much more serious. I don't know who was the abnormal one who leaked them, but between this and last week, in the end, the publishing company is going to end up taking action, and they're going to screw us all. So just avoid putting any link to the scans before the usual RAWs drop to avoid this hot mess. And in a perfect world, this would have stopped there and the spread would have been mitigated. But unfortunately, we know that the internet doesn't work that way, and these leaked panels are all over Twitter at the moment. And I do appreciate some of you on Twitter telling the people posting these to take them down because of what, Zhoniin's saying here. But as we know, they're not going to take them down. They're going to keep those tweets up until the publishing company take action. But even then, they can only do so much. It's extremely difficult to completely scrub something from the internet, unless you're like the government or something. So I want to talk about these leaked panels at least. Obviously not going to show them. And also keep in mind that they're like blurry and not the best resolution. It's kind of difficult to make out exactly what's going on in them, but we have somewhat of a good idea. So as we talked about in yesterday's spoilers, it said Luffy uses a new attack called Gomu Gomu no Gigan, turning his entire body into a giant. He looks like a god. And yes, we are seeing this, but interestingly enough, he's kind of in a similar pose to that picture I posted of Luffy from that filler episode. And there's even kind of more parallels to that filler. So let me just explain real fast. The original time that we see Luffy become a giant, like in this picture, is from the Z's Ambition filler arc, which was from like the anime episodes 575 to 578. And there's like this filler character who was born a giant, but then she ate like a fruit that gave her Ant-Man-like abilities, so she can become small. And she asks Usopp to like fire her inside of like the villain's mouth so that she can like Ant-Man Thanos him, but through the mouth and not the other way. But instead she winds up going inside of Luffy's mouth, and then eventually they coerce into her expanding herself inside of Luffy to make him a giant. But at first he becomes like bulbous, because like I said, interestingly, not only do we see Luffy become like a giant in this chapter, but he also gets like big and bulbousy too. And this is nothing new of Luffy. He's done that many times in the series, and I'm not exactly sure why he's doing it in this chapter. But let me run you down this sequence and maybe explain why he does what he does. So at some point in this chapter, Luffy grabs Kaido, who's still in his dragon form, and starts using him as a jump rope, like quite literally. Remember, we're in like goofy, toony Luffy mode at this point, so nothing's really off the table. And as he's like skipping rope with Kaido here, Kaido like fires off a bolo breath like as he's being held. And it appears that Luffy's either tanking this or he's avoiding it, but then I think after this sequence, Luffy either takes in air like how he typically does when he becomes rotund, or he's like eating one of Kaido's follow-up bolo breaths, and then I think he's like going inside of Kaido's body, like through the mouth, inside of him, and then like expanding himself. So we see like Dragon Kaido, but then he just has like this pregnant stomach with Luffy in there or something. But then I think he's like coming out of Kaido's mouth, but then shooting through the roof of Onigashima possibly. And once he does this, we see Law, Kid, Chopper, Nami, and Tama like witnessing this, and they have the toony eyes like popping out too. And then once Luffy hits the ground, we come to to what the spoilers were talking about yesterday, with Luffy runs out of energy, but he gets his heart to pump blood thanks to the drum heartbeat and recovers. So when he runs out of energy, we see like a sequential panel of like his hair coming down and losing color, like going back to black, until he eventually comes to his base form, but then he gets like this old saggy form afterwards. So yeah, this is really taking a toll on him, even more so than what we saw with Gear 4. I mean, go figure. And Kaido is right in front of him in this sequence in his hybrid form, but he's more so like in a talking stance, or like he's discussing something with him here. And then I think in the follow-up sequence to this, Kaido's going to attack him, but then I guess this is where Luffy regains his power and then like leaps off of the ground. But as Kaido hits the ground, it became rubber because, you know, of Luffy's abilities. And while Luffy's bouncing off of the ground, he becomes like thickened and wide. It's hard to explain, like he's been stretched out or something, but he's also spinning. And I think this is taking us into the final sequence of the chapter, because as he's spinning, he builds up more and more momentum until he becomes like a tornado. But it's like a tornado of like fists, and one of these fists eventually gets to Kaido. And what happens here is really up for interpretation, because in the spoilers yesterday it said at the end of the chapter Luffy punches Kaido's face very hard, and that's certainly true, but in these panels it looks like he's going through his face, like death style, caving through his skull and coming out the other end. And we even see like Yamato and Momonosuke reacting to this like, oh my god, did he just kill Kaido? But I guess he's not dead, because we do see the final panel here where I guess it's lining up with the spoilers yesterday, where Luffy's saying, "This is fun, right, Kaido?" So I guess that means that Luffy didn't kill him, or at least Luffy's aware that he didn't, because why would he be saying that if he just killed him? So I guess this is like another aspect of Luffy's awakened abilities. He can make like ethereal fists possibly, or something. Maybe this could go into the true nature of the natural property of rubber, which we were talking about yesterday with how Uteron said that it's like latex, you know, coming from like the banyan tree or whatever. This is also really similar to what Oven was doing to Watatsumi, like how his heat torpedo things went through him, but they weren't actually like physically piercing him. So it could be something like that. But if you see this for yourself, you're pretty much going to come to the same conclusion, that it looks like Luffy is punching through Kaido's skull. So I guess this just comes down to another possibly nuanced ability of his awakening here, or it could be like super advanced Conqueror's Haki or something, because there is Conqueror Haki lightning coming off of this attack as like he's making contact with Kaido. So maybe this is like advanced Conquerors or something, because you know how advanced armament, aka Ryo, works by like projecting the force, and that was also the method that he was going to use to defeat Kaido, you know, going beneath the surface. So this could be the next level of that, where it's like an ethereal punch thing that like goes through you ghost style or something, or it's just more goofy Nika ability stuff. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, this could have like the same kind of properties that Law's awakening does, how it was like going through Big Mom but not like literally puncturing her. But yeah, either way, pretty wild stuff here. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.